Welcome to our podcast, Self Love, the essential foundation for a happy and fulfilling life. I'm Marlon Sterling, and today we're diving into a topic that's not just a buzzword, but a way of life.
Right, Marlon. I'm William, and I'm excited to explore the nuances of self-love with you. This is more important than ever in a world where we're constantly bombarded with external pressures.
Absolutely, William. Self love is about recognizing our worth, taking care of our mental and emotional well being, and being unapologetically ourselves. It's transformative.
When we talk about self-love, we're really talking about laying a foundation that touches every aspect of our lives. Our happiness, our relationships, even our ambitions.
Yeah, and it's not just about feeling good about yourself, it's about inner acceptance and kindness that empowers us to connect more deeply with others and chase our dreams fearlessly.
And let's not forget, self-love helps us combat self-doubt and negative self-talk, which can be truly debilitating if left unchecked.
So true, William. It's about making that conscious effort to appreciate ourselves, imperfections and all, which can lead us to a more joyful and fulfilling life overall.
As we navigate through today's discussion, we hope to provide practical insight into how self-love can impact not only your mental health, but also your overall happiness.
Definitely, we'll delve into how you can start this journey of self-love and self-acceptance. It's an art, really, and one that's worth mastering.
Right, Marley. And this is just the beginning of our conversation. We're going to explore all angles of self-love in the upcoming section.
All right, folks, moving forward, I am delighted to introduce our special guest for this segment. She's someone who has been a true advocate for self-love and has inspired countless people with her journey. Let's welcome Sarah Blanche.
Thank you so much, Marlon. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Self-love is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because it's something that completely transformed my life.
Sarah, could you share what triggered your journey into self-love and what changes you've noticed since then?
Great question, William. The tipping point for me was when I realized I was living my life based on what others thought of me. It was exhausting and I wasn't happy. That realization kicked off a journey of introspection and self-discovery.
And what does self-love look like in your daily life, Sarah? I think for many people, it's a bit abstract.
Absolutely, Marlon. Self-love can be quite the broad concept, but for me, it means taking time each day to nurture myself. It can be as simple as morning meditation or ensuring I set boundaries in my relationships.
That makes a lot of sense. It sounds like it's about creating space for yourself in your own life, right?
Exactly, William. It's valuing your own presence and recognizing that you deserve the same kindness and respect you extend to others.
Sarah, how has embracing self-love affected your connections with others?
It's been life-changing, Marlon. By loving myself, I no longer seek validation through others. This has allowed me to form more authentic and meaningful relationships.
That's powerful. Sarah, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone just starting their self-love journey?
Be patient with yourself. Self-love is a process, not a destination. Allow yourself to grow and learn without judgment.
Sarah, it's really inspiring to hear about your journey to self-love. Can you tell us about some of the major challenges you faced along the way?
Absolutely, Marlon. One of the biggest challenges I encountered was overcoming the internalized belief that I wasn't enough. I grew up with a lot of expectations, and for a long time, I felt I had to meet them to be of worth.
That's something many people struggle with, Sarah. It's tough to break free from those expectations.
It truly is, William. It wasn't until I started questioning where these beliefs were coming from that I began to see them for what they were, external pressures. It took a lot of introspection to distinguish between what mattered to me and what I was taught to value.
Did you have any particular moment or turning point where you realized things needed to change?
I think it was gradual, but there was a point when I was going through some dark times, feeling unfulfilled despite seeming success. I realized I wasn't being kind to myself. That prompted me to seek therapy and to start actually listening to my own needs and desires.
Seeking help is a big first step in many journeys. How did that impact your process?
Well, therapy allowed me to unpack a lot of emotional baggage. It helped me learn the importance of setting boundaries and being compassionate with myself. I gradually started embracing my flaws and celebrating my achievements, no matter how small they seemed.
Celebrating achievements is crucial, no matter the size. It's those little victories that build up self-love over time, right?
Exactly, Marlon. It was a revelation to me that I didn't have to earn my worthiness. I could simply accept myself as I was. That made all the difference.
Yeah.
That's powerful, Sarah. It sounds like accepting yourself changed not only how you viewed yourself, but also your relationships with others.
Definitely, William. By fostering self love, I found that my connections with others deepened. I could authentically show up in relationships because I was no longer seeking validation from them.
It's incredible how self-love transforms so many aspects of life. Thanks for sharing that insight, Sarah. Moving forward, it's intriguing to think about the practical steps we can take. Hey, we send this some word. You know, William, one of the biggest misconceptions about self-love is that it's selfish, but in reality, it's quite the opposite.
Absolutely. When we take the time to care for ourselves, it actually enhances our ability to care for others. We can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Exactly. One practical tip I always share is to start every day with a moment of gratitude. Just acknowledging something positive about yourself or your life can set a positive tone for the day.
That's a great tip, Sarah. And adding to that, I think it's important to recognize and celebrate small wins. So often, we overlook the small achievements because we're focused on larger goals.
Right. Celebrating small victories can boost your self-esteem and reinforce a mindset of growth.
Another strategy is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can be incredibly therapeutic. It's a space for self reflection without judgment.
I found something similar with meditation. Even just a few minutes can bring clarity and peace, helping you connect with your inner self.
Meditation has been a game changer for many people in managing stress and fostering self-awareness.
Yes, and let's not forget about setting boundaries. Learning to say no when you need to is a form of self care.
It's true, setting boundaries protects your time and energy, allowing you to focus on what truly matters to you.
And by prioritizing self-care, we're not just nurturing ourselves, but also creating the ability to nurture others more effectively.
Exactly, William. When we embrace self-love, it enriches every aspect of our lives, making us more resilient and compassionate individuals.
And remember, self love is a journey, not a destination. It requires patience and kindness towards oneself.
All right, now we're shifting gears a bit. We've been exploring self-love and its impact broadly. Let's dive deeper. Marlon, why don't you introduce our next guest?
Sure thing, William. Today we're joined by someone who brings a wealth of knowledge in mental health. I'm thrilled to introduce you to Casey.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be here discussing such an important topic.
So Casey, self-love and its intersection with mental health can sometimes feel like a bit of a paradox to people, don't you think?
Absolutely, William. One of the common misconceptions is that self-love means you have to feel good about yourself all the time, which isn't the case. It's more about acknowledging where you are and being gentle with yourself, especially on those tougher days.
That's such a crucial point, Casey. I think many struggle with self-love because they feel they need to maintain a facade of perfection.
Hey, Marlon, perfection isn't the goal. It's about understanding that imperfection is part of our humanity. It's about self-compassion.
It seems like cultivating this kind of self-compassion could really help alleviate some mental health struggles, right?
Certainly, the practice of self-love can lessen feelings of anxiety and depression by reducing the harsh self-criticism that can often accompany these conditions.
It's almost like when you truly accept yourself, you're less likely to be derailed by external pressures.
Yes, and it also creates a stable internal environment, which makes it easier to bounce back from life's challenges.
That resilience seems so vital as we continue this conversation. Casey, could you share more about how people can identify their own barriers to self-love and start addressing them? All right, Casey, it's fascinating how self-love intertwines with mental health. Some might say they're inseparable, right?
Absolutely, William. Self-love is crucial for maintaining mental health. When you practice self-love, you're essentially nurturing your mind, affirming your worth, and reducing the impact of external pressures.
It's like giving your mind a little boost, isn't it? When you're gentle with yourself, the weight of self-criticism lightens.
Indeed, Marlon. And by recognizing your own value, you're able to quiet the negative self-talk that can often drag you down. It's about creating a mental environment where you can thrive.
So, Casey, how would you advise someone who struggles with self-acceptance to begin healing their mental health?
Great question, William. I would suggest starting small by acknowledging one positive thing about yourself every day. It could be as simple as appreciating your persistence or the way you handled a situation.
That sounds manageable. Sometimes it's the little acknowledgments that pave the way for bigger changes, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, Marlon. Over time, these small steps accumulate. As your self-love grows, it can lead to stronger mental resilience.
Casey, could you share some strategies that people can use to cultivate this self-love?
Sure. Mindfulness and meditation are excellent practices. They help us become more aware of our thoughts and feelings, allowing us to respond with kindness rather than harsh judgment.
Also, if I can add, surrounding yourself with supportive people is important. They can be mirrors reflecting back your strengths and worth.
Definitely, Marlon. Building a support network plays a significant role in reinforcing self-love and maintaining mental health.
It's amazing how interconnected these elements are. Self-love really does lay the groundwork for mental well-being.
As we think about self-love's impact on mental health, it's clear that this is just one piece of a larger picture.
Correct, Marlon. Self-love is foundational, but it's part of a continuum that enriches every aspect of our lives.
And this naturally ties into our next exploration. So, Marlon, when we talk about empowering relationships through self-love, it sounds quite transformative, doesn't it?
Absolutely, William. I mean, when we truly love ourselves, we naturally set healthier boundaries, right?
Exactly. And it's about authenticity too. Sarah, what are your thoughts on how self-love translates into more meaningful relationships?
Well, it's fascinating because the better relationship you have with yourself, the more genuine and open your relationships with others become. You're not constantly seeking validation from them, which is so freeing.
And not to mention, when you're confident in who you are, you attract the right people who respect and value you for that.
See, could you expand a bit on how this shift impacts communication within relationships?
Sure, Marlon. When you love yourself, you're more likely to express your needs and feelings honestly, as there's less fear of judgment, so your interactions are more sincere and constructive.
It's like creating a foundation of trust and respect because you're not pretending to be someone you're not. It's quite empowering.
It is. And it also means that you're better equipped to handle conflicts. You approach disagreements with understanding rather than insecurity.
Exactly, and it teaches others how to treat you with the respect and kindness you show yourself.
Marlon, that's the key, isn't it? Setting the tone of the relationship by how you treat yourself.
And as we develop this self-love, it becomes a cycle of positive reinforcement within our relationships.
Right. Self-love creates a ripple effect, influencing not just romantic partners, but friendships and family bonds too.
And that's something we can all aspire to. Wouldn't you agree, Marlon?
Definitely, William. As this conversation illustrates, nurturing self-love is crucial for building and maintaining healthy relationships. As we begin to wrap up our discussion today, it's vital to reiterate that self-love isn't a destination but a journey. It's about continuously working on ourselves, embracing our imperfections, and recognizing our intrinsic worth.
Absolutely, Marlon. It's not something you can tick off a list once and never look back. It requires consistent nurturing and patience. And while it might seem self-indulgent to some, it's actually crucial for our development and happiness.
Right? And when we practice self-love, we aren't just doing it for us. It impacts our interactions, our work, our entire outlook on life. Casey and Sarah earlier touched on how it strengthens our resilience and perspective.
Indeed, cultivating self-love benefits, not just us, but also, the people around us. And perhaps one of the biggest takeaways from today is that self-love empowers us to dispel negativity. It helps us to approach life with a more constructive mindset.
So true. And for those listeners who may struggle with this concept, it's important to start small. Simple acts of kindness toward oneself can pave the way for deeper self-compassion.
That's a great point, Marlon. Finding what truly brings you joy and fulfillment and making it a part of your routine can be transformative.
And don't forget the importance of support systems. Surrounding ourselves with individuals who uplift and encourage self-love rather than diminishing our self-worth is vital.
Community participates in our self-love journey far more than we realize. When we are in an environment that nurtures positivity, self-love becomes far more intuitive.
Listeners, as you step away from this discussion, remember that self-love is an ongoing process. It's about turning self-compassion into a lifestyle choice.
And with that, let's commit to shouting down self-doubt, one positive affirmation at a time, creating space where self-love can flourish for everyone.
Thank you for joining us on this journey today. Let yourself be the priority in your life. It'll pay immense rewards.